Hi, my name is Karina Akidal. I'm the managing editor of Canadian Auto Dealer, and I'm here with John Yiokaris of SOTOS, who's going to give us a bit of information on dealership agreements, the situation with dealership closures. Can they close? What are the laws? What is the situation with their agreements with OEMs? And maybe he can offer us some advice on what dealers should consider. So on to you, John.
Great. Good afternoon, Karina. Thank you for the invite. Uh, First and foremost, dealers need to remember that almost all dealership agreements require them to continually operate their dealership. And so if a dealer closes its dealership or even reduces the number of services that it is offering without any notice or approval by its OEM, it runs the very serious risk of being in default of its dealership agreement. And then under most dealership agreements, if a dealer closes its dealership for more than a certain set amount of days, typically 7 or 10 days, then this default would actually permit the OEM to immediately terminate the dealership agreement. Now, the other piece in all of this is to keep in mind how the various provincial governments have classified dealerships. When the COVID-19 crisis first started, most provinces classified dealerships as essential workplaces, but as time has gone on, we now see that only repairs and essential maintenance are listed as essential. But keep in mind that no matter that this classification exists, that only permits the dealer to stay open. It doesn't mandate them to stay open. So where are we today? We're finding that most dealers throughout Canada are offering emergency service and repairs, and online sales are the only part that they're doing in terms of the sales side. And that's obviously in order to keep both the public and their staff safe. But we do see a number of smaller dealers that have elected to close their dealerships because of the financial pressures. So for me, the advice that I'm giving to dealers is if you want to close down or if you really want to limit your offerings, contact your OEM. Explain to them that you want to temporarily cease operations or reduce the services that they want you to provide. And you're doing it for two reasons. One, both for the health and the wellness perspective, and also to limit the financial pressures that you're experiencing. Most OEMs are going to consent to this. And if they do, get that consent in writing. Force the OEM to send you even an email confirming that you may reduce your offerings or close down. And with this in your hands, you don't need to worry that all of a sudden you're going to get a formal notice of default from your OEM. And the last point that I want to touch up on this issue is it's important to remember that your OEM has a legal obligation to act in good faith and to be commercially reasonable whenever it exercises any of its rights under the dealership agreement. So when a court looks at whether an OEM is being reasonable or not, it's always going to consider the facts at hand. So if we've got an OEM right now who's trying to enforce a dealer agreement in a very heavy-handed manner and forcing dealers to remain open during the corona crisis here, and placing staff and the public at risk because the dealer doesn't want to remain open, then an OEM could very well be offside its duties to act in good faith and being commercially reasonable.
So I guess in this case, dealers can just, like you said, reach out to their OEMs, connect with them. And so have you had any situations where there's been dealers have had difficulty managing the situation with their OEMs?
No, I haven't. Fortunately, I haven't. The difficulty has come getting the second piece of that, which is just flip me an email. Just confirm to me that I can close or I can limit my service or my hours or that part. Because understandably so, the OEMs are scrambling both in dealing with their dealer body and then also dealing internally with their head office demands.
All right, well, perfect. Thank you so much, John, for taking the time to do this interview. And I wish you and your family good health and safety during this difficult period.
Thanks, and all the best to you as well.